nice day to go to the beach. Plenty of sun and plenty of water.
Yes, it sure is, Amy. We better be careful of what we do while we're on the beach, though.
What do you mean?
Pollution is a major factor that affects animals and the health of our oceans. While we may not mean to pollute the water, we must always be aware of our actions.
You're right, Ben. Sometimes I see people leaving their water bottles or other plastic containers laying out. That can't be good for the ocean.
You're right. The plastic floats out into the ocean where it is consumed by marine animals. This consumption could cause choking, intestinal blockage, and even starvation.
You're saying they could die from this pollution?
Yes, Amy. It's a major problem for our waters. It affects us too.
In what way?
Well, we eat seafood, which includes all different types of fish and anything inside of them. Therefore, when they eat toxic pollutants from pollution, they could pass on to us.
Wow, Ben, you're right. I will always remember to recycle my plastics and throw away any other trash I have on the beach.
Look at our world. Isn't it a beautiful place? I'd like to tell you a little bit more about our oceans. I'm no genius, but I do know about water. Did you know that the oceans occupy about 70% of Earth's surface? Did you also know that more than 97% of all our planet's water is contained in oceans? Look at this view. It's so stinking cute. Anyway, the average depth of the ocean is more than 2.5 miles. I definitely don't want to be going that deep. Most of the Earth's protein comes from the ocean. Like, oh my gosh, why wouldn't we want to take care of it? Look at these folks. They're probably eating fish, which, again, supply the greatest percentage of the world's protein. I personally don't like seafood, but hey, it's whatever. Let's talk specifically about my land. My land can be divided into the east and west regions. In each of these regions, there's different types of water rights. This is the east. In the east, they operate under riparian rights. Riparian rights allow all individuals living on the water to use it. These landowners can use the water for whatever as long as they do it in moderation. Of course, we don't want them draining the whole lake, but eating, drinking, and swimming would all be okay. Personally, I think riparian rights are the most logical water rights. But what the heck do I know? This is the Western United States. They operate under appropriative rights. Basically, first come, first served. If you lived there first and owned the land first, then guess what? You had the right to the water. I don't like this rule, but it's whatever. Nobody ever listens to my opinion, but if they did, we would have a super cool world.
If you ever get stuck in an elevator, you have tons of time to think. One time I got stuck with this really weird lady. She started talking to me about dams. She said they were bad for rivers and streams. But I was like, lady, you don't know what you're talking about. She kept going on and on. My ears were starting to hurt. She said dams blocked fish migration, like the fish couldn't get from one end of the river to the other. This was bad because they had limited space and limited resources. She said that it trapped sediment. The rest of the river wouldn't be able to get the sediment it needs. Downstream ecosystems wouldn't be able to replenish. Honestly, she was boring me so much that I just fell asleep on her. I understood she felt strongly about dams, as many people do, but I was not the person to vent to.
Do you ever just sit back and think about things in depth? I often do before I go to sleep. The other night I began to think about the action of shark finning. Shark finning is the act of cutting off sharks' fins and then throwing their bodies back into the water. It is such an inhumane practice that really makes my blood boil. Anyone who knows me knows I love sharks. So when I see their fins being cut off, I get very upset. Since I couldn't sleep, I got out of bed to do some research. I found that people use shark fins overseas to make shark fin soup. All the harm for such a small thing. People kill way more sharks every year than sharks kill humans, but somehow they are
Floating structures are man-made islands that may be constructed to prevent damage from rising sea levels. There are lots of benefits that can come from these structures. So what are the benefits of these structures? Just look here. Floating structures can also help cope with the problem of overpopulation by aiding homes.
Next, I'd like to talk about the problem of overfishing. Overfishing is the problem for all of the world's waters. We're taking up all the fish and not allowing them to replenish. What is overfishing? Why is it a problem? The overall ecological unity of our oceans are under stress and at risk of failure. Many fish species are at risk of collapse. We are also at risk of losing a valuable food source many depend on for social, economical, or dietary reasons. Commercial fish are becoming more and more scarce. These include the big fish, dolphin fish, things that we eat on a day-to-day basis. This leaves little fish like sardines and anchovies to survive and accumulate and become in abundance. Illegal fishing. Illegal fishing is the practice of catching fish in areas that have laws prohibiting the catching of certain fish. This occurs because fisheries have poor management. There are too many illegal activities going on for every single activity to be noticed and stopped. Illegal fishing accounts for 20% of the world's catch. The costs of illegal fishing are significant. It's something that needs to be stopped and is definitely a problem with overfishing. What can we do about it? We can't do much about it as individuals, but what we can do as a whole is be informed. We can watch what we eat. There's a Guide to Fish book that states which fish should we eat and which fish should we not. Another thing we can do is spread the word. Spreading the word will help others get informed, and maybe it'll reach the right person that can help do something about it. What needs to be done? Safe catch limits need to be applied and enforced. Controls on bycatch need to be standardized. We also need to protect our habitats of marine life, protect our coral reefs, and protect our marine animals. All of these laws and regulations need to be monitored and enforced strictly.